When asked who destroyed the temple, who destroyed the Beit HaMikdash, most people will tell you that it's the Roman who destroyed the Beit HaMikdash and destroyed the temple. However, I'm here today to tell you that that's not the case, and it's not the Romans or Titus that destroyed the temple, but it was rather our own doing. So the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed on the 9th of Av, as you may know. However, it's important to have in mind what happened before that. More than 100 years before that, two brothers, Yochanan Horkanus and Aristobulus, had a fight with each other about who will be the next king of Judea. Both of these brothers were descendants of the Hasmonean dynasty, the ones that we know from the Hanukkah story. And so they had a fight. They were both children of Shlom Zion, the queen, and there was a battle of succession. So Yochanan Horkanus was the king at the time, and his brother Aristobulus did not like it. So what he did is he went to Rome and told the Romans to get involved. And then he came to Jerusalem, besieged the city, massacred many of its inhabitants, and became king, appointed a new Kohen Gadol, etc. That was just the beginning of many internal wars. The Jewish people, for the next 100 years or so, were fighting each other in a horrible way. You have what became famously known as the different sects of Judaism. You had the Tzedukim, the Sadducees, the Perushim, the Pharisees, the Isim, and so many other cults and fractions and segments of the Jewish people, all fighting with one another for ideological and political reasons. And so, by the time the Romans have come around, and by the time the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash came around, the Jewish people were so consumed in self-hate that Josephus describes Titus deciding to hold back his attack on Jerusalem, because he said, what's the point of attacking Jerusalem if they're already destroying one another from inside? So he held off with his attack, and indeed the three groups that were trapped within the city were actually fighting it out, and as the Romans are encircling them, as the Romans are bringing troops from all over the empire, the Jewish people were busy fighting one another. And so the lesson of Tisha B'Av is a lesson that tells us how devastating the impact of infighting can be. The Jewish people did not have to engage in that fighting that brought the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. The rabbis teach us in the Talmud that the first temple, the first Beit HaMikdash, was destroyed because of the sins that the people committed, because of Avodah Zarah, Gilui Arayot, Shfichut Damim, idolatry, adultery, and bloodshed. Those were the reasons for the destruction of the first temple. The second temple was destroyed, the rabbis tell us, because of sinat chinam, because of baseless hatred. And so when we come to Tisha B'Av and think about the causes for the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, it's important to note that it's not the Romans who destroyed the Beit HaMikdash. It's the internal fighting, the hatred, and the animosity that led to the destruction of Beit HaMikdash. So let's take that lesson and look what it takes to rebuild the Beit HaMikdash. The Beit HaMikdash will not be rebuilt unless we address the reasons for its destruction. And if the reasons for its destruction are so much hate and infighting that took place among the Jewish people, let's counter that with a message of unity, a message of tolerance, a message of love for one another, a message of ahavat chinam. And may we see the Beit HaMikdash be rebuilt speedily in our days. B'meira b'yameinu. Amen.